What's up, everybody? This is Coach Fish. This is the first in the squat series of our functional movement series. This is a very hotly debated movement within all gyms and functional programs on how to properly do it. So I want to just be clear that I'm covering the basics today. And if you want to know better about squatting for your anatomy or any fixes for your squat patterns or mobility issues, things like that, check out Squat University. It is my resource and it can be yours as well. But I'm going to cover the basics of the squat today, and we'll go from there and build on this series as we go. So the first step to the squat, if you're going to do this with me or the next time you train the squat, is take your shoes off. Take those cushiony running shoes off and go barefoot or as barefoot as possible that you can in your gym. Get a zero drop shoe or a flat shoe, something where you can feel the ground really well, because that is going to give you the best feedback as far as your stability in your squat and what is possibly going wrong if you are faltering or having trouble with your squat, especially in a balance sense. That just takes away stability. The mobility is to get maximal flexion in your hips, knees, and ankles to perform this movement, but we're going to start with the stability and we'll talk about the depth later. So my setup for the squat, shoulder width apart. I want to get as much external rotation to connect me with the ground as possible. So I want to turn my knees and hips and ankles all to the outside, and I want to imagine I'm standing on a piece of paper that I'm trying to tear in half in the middle. Right? So I'm trying to put pressure on this mat and try to spread it open, and that makes my ankles very laterally stable. It's hard to push me side to side, and then I push my big toe down to grab the ground and turn them white. That way I have stability forward and back. And that gives me really good lockdown, and that external rotation gets my butt turned on as well and has those glutes flex so I can stay stable with my low back, and I have my core locked in anytime that I have some loaded weight. Today I'm not loading this squat, so I don't really have to worry about bracing the spine as much as possible, but you want to think about having that core locked in no matter what type of squat you're doing. So I'm going to go from the side here now that we talked about that stability. So I am spreading the floor with my feet, putting my big toe down, and then to initiate this movement, most coaches, I won't tell you that. Never mind, I'll go back to that. But what I want to tell you is put your butt straight down and your knees forward, right? So as my butt goes down, my knees track forward over my toes, and I can counterbalance with my hands in front of me and have a good lockdown with that, spreading my knees apart at the bottom to turn on my glutes. And then I want to think about those glutes to stand up, right? I'm initiating with those glutes and quads to fully lock out at the top and have that lock out all the way. The depth that we're looking for is that hip crease below the top of the knee, but with good form. I'll repeat that for those in the back. I want to get my hip crease below the top of my knee, but with good form. So don't force yourself into that position. So if you feel yourself spreading the floor, turning your knees out, external rotation, and I start to go down and you feel this pitch, oh no, why am I looking at the ground? That's a bad squat now. We're hinging instead of squatting. We want to think about getting those knees forward and hips forward, but if you're stuck, come back to the top. It is not a good thing to force any positions and cause pain. You want to be uncomfortable in training, never in pain, right? So I want to have that depth to be comfortable enough to where I can get down there, sit in it, have my butt in tension and not dump my low back and lose the tension. I want to have that nice and tight so I can always remain loaded if I start to add weight to my chest or overhead, etc. So a little bit about the mobility issues that you might experience is a very common one that I experience is my heels lift off the ground. That is just bad flexion in my ankle. The fix that I have for you is get a raised heel or counterbalance your squat with a weight out in front to help you smash those heels down and push those knees forward, right? If you need something to go underneath your heel, I'll just do it with one side. You can get like a small PVC pipe or just a part of a mat, something like that to elevate your heel already so you can have pressure down and stability and avoid that heel raise and that knee shearing in that mobility. Again, I don't want to go in too much depth about how to mobilize and all that stuff. I just wanted to give you basic cues on establishing that good straight up air squat. So have fun with that, experiment a little bit. Give me a comment down below of anything else you need to see in the squat or have questions about, and we can cover it in a later video, and we'll see you next time. Os.